It is Monday, August 10th, 2026. This is another edition of Baseball Today presented to you by T-Mobile. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I'm Chris Rose, producer Dan, along for the ride as well. Oh, it was so nice you could hang out with my son over the weekend up there in Milwaukee. How's he doing? Did you give him a hug for him?
I gave him a big hug. We sat, and I think he watched me eat in the press dining room. He sat with me. And yeah, he looks great. He's having a good time. He's ready to go back to school. Moving in soon, right? Like very soon.
Yeah, mommy and daddy are coming to get him this weekend.
Yeah.
And I know he's 20 years old, but once your baby, always your baby.
We almost went to the Milwaukee State Fair, but it didn't end up happening.
Oh, okay.
That'd been fun. Like a little date between me and Brady.
That would have been adorable. That would have been adorable. All right, a lot to get to in limited time. So let's start off with a tip of the cap to the Philadelphia Phillies, who will play your Minnesota Twins later this week in Iowa, Field of Dreams game. And they did a really, really cool thing over the weekend. They invited 4 players back to Philadelphia who were called up to the Phillies, but they never played in a major league game. It was just like Moonlight Graham in the movie Major. So they got to cross the foul line, throw out the first pitch. It was Jeff Singer, Tim Leahy, Tim Gradeville, and Will Toffee all got to live out the dream. How damn cool is this?
It's really cool, and especially cool because Tim Leahy was like my minor league roommate coming up all the way through. And there we are in Rochester, baby. Don't know what's happening here. I think it was a pajama party, and we said this is our pajamas. Or maybe it was a no pants party. Not really sure what's going on. Tim, let me tell you about Tim, because I need to make this. I'm putting this out there. Tim Leahy, Princeton guy, got drafted as a catcher, converted to a pitcher, Rule 5 twice. That's how Philly got him from the Twins. He was in the bullpen for a week, didn't get in, as you mentioned. They won the World Series that year.
Right.
They did not give Tim Leahy a ring. So this first pitch thing is great. Hey, snaps, whatever, give him a ring. If you're John Middleton, my guy, I have so much respect for you. I talk glowingly about you.
Yes, you do.
Give Tim Leahy a ring. He deserves one. That's crazy.
I thought that if you were on the roster for even a day, that you were ring eligible. Wow. That's a tough one.
I have so many Tim Leahy stories. That's
a great photo.
Awesome.
That is a great photo. Yeah. Just so that people know, Leahy made it less than a week, did not play. Gradeville was on the roster for 16 days and never got in a game, Trevor. 16 days. And Singer, who was a pitcher, was there for exactly 1 day. He grew up a Phillies fan. His family was there. I think on the Sunday he got sent down maybe and got to see him throw in the bullpen. He never got into a game. Would you rather have been in the show for one single day or 16 days and not have gotten into a game?
16 days. If I don't get in a game either way?
Wait, what's tougher? Just one single day in the show or 16 days and not getting into the show?
Well, 16 days is 15 more days pay. I'll take that every time.
I guess so. That's a good point. I didn't even think about the money.
But hey, it's tough. Thinking about being there and not getting in, it's that would hurt.
Does it hurt more than not making it to the major leagues?
No.
Okay.
No.
Good. I'm happy you answered.
It is then you have to explain. I'm a big leaguer, but I never got to play in the big leagues. So weird conversation, but you're still a big leaguer. You're a big leaguer.
A lot of the guys said, look, it still haunts them that they never got into a game, but they appreciated making it to the big leagues. And they loved that the team brought them back because a lot of them have families now and the kids could see, hey, Dad worked here a little while.
We used to have Tim Leahy's mom make us turkey burgers. So even when you're talking about Brady and being 20 years old and still being the baby. I mean, Tim Leahy, Princeton grad, playing in AAA. Mom made him some awesome turkey burgers back.
That is really cool. That is really cool. All right, let's get to another wild weekend where divisions are changing. Wild card races are all over the place as well. We had plenty of offensive heroics, but how about the defense as well, shining bright?
He lines it toward the right field corner. That's a fair ball. It bounces to the wall. Tavares Tavares gets to third. He's being waved home. Relay to the plate. Tavares out.
High fly ball to right. Back on it is Lara. Lara finding his way. And he leaps and makes the catch.
Colson Montgomery, back it goes. Get out.
And he swings and drives one to right. That's well hit. Lara's on the run. He leaps. Oh, my goodness.
Waldy to the gap. That's got some legs. It's on its way. And it's gone. Ryan Waldschmidt wins it.
Yeah, the Arizona Diamondbacks made it a really, really tough weekend on Edwin Diaz and the Dodgers. The Dodgers escaped. They pulled a Houdini act on Saturday. It would be this close to a 9-game losing streak, and Arizona winning the season series against LA for the first time since 2018. My, oh my, that's a big deal for Arizona, which I think I questioned them 3 or 4 weeks ago as to whether or not they'd have enough staying power in this. And here they are neck and neck with Philly for that second wild card spot, Trev.
Yeah, I mean, they've been getting better pitching. Brandon Pfaadt's been really good for them. Erod's owned the Dodgers this year. You know, their offense, like the guys you'd expect, actually really haven't been hot, but they've been getting some big hits. I think that's kind of what they have been relying on anyway. Waldschmidt with the big homer there. I mean, Corbin Carroll had the triple down line, but he hasn't been his typical self. They ended up losing that game too, which was a crazy. They should have swept the Dodgers if we're being honest. They had a chance to. Yeah, I mean they're a fun team to watch. Dalt's told me multiple times I check out the bullpen. Like they're doing a lot better than I think a lot of people give them credit for. I think they're a team. Yeah, they're a team that can get really hot, and they have different ways to beat you. And I think that's what we've seen from them as of late.
Yeah, Erod was great. The starting pitching all weekend. I mean, Erod obviously put the period on this thing with 7 incredible innings on Sunday. But Merrill Kelly, who had been blasted by the Dodgers in his regular, I think he had been 0-11 with a horrific ERA prior to Saturday's start, I believe that was, and he kept them right in it the whole time.
Corbin helped him out a little bit there.
Yeah, so that was either Friday or Saturday. I forget who went, but Pfaadt pitched exceptionally well. Like, yes, that's sort of stuff is coming.
He's been great. Pfaadt's been great.
Yeah, he has been. And remember, he was sent down earlier this year. All right, so it leads to a bigger question because now Arizona is, let me get it exactly. They're 7.5 back of the Dodgers, but obviously they are in the thick of the wild card chase. So I'm going to give you any division or either wild card chase. Which one to you is most interesting down the stretch?
I can pick any division, right?
You could pick any division race. You could pick a wild card, whatever it is.
So, I mean, obviously the wild card's fun because more teams are involved. I feel like that's kind of a cop-out answer, so I'm not going to do that. People are going to think this is a homer take. I think it's the AL Central. I think if you look at what the White Sox have done, I just talked about this with Jake. They won 41 games in 2024. They won 60 last year. They've already won 61 this year. So you're looking at a massive turnaround and a quick turnaround, fun young team. In second place is not my Twins. It ain't your Guards. It's the Tigers who just traded away Tarek Skubal and Casey Mize. And they might end up winning. They might end up winning the division. And then you have our two teams who I think, the Twins have probably played better than they are as a roster. They could have swept this series against Milwaukee. They're 2-4 on the season series, but all 4 losses by 1 run. Your Guardians, have 2 of the top 4 AL Rookie of the Year candidates in Messick and DeLauder.
Okay.
They are. And they got Gavin Williams and Jose. Like there's a good team in there, and they seemingly do it every single year. Now, Kansas City, they're out of it, but it's a good 4-team race in that division, and each team kind of has their own storyline. So I'm going to go AL Central.
It is a good one. That's a good one. We talked about it. We laughed last week when we had the trade deadline. Like, you know what? The Tigers haven't been terrible. In fact, since the beginning of June, they've been one of the better teams in baseball, and that's factually accurate. And now their offense is, yes.
Parker Messick is a stud.
He is great.
My goodness.
Yeah,
I kind of glossed over that there, but have fun watching those two, Gavin Williams and Parker Messick. That's fun.
Yep, it is fun. But with Detroit, their offense has taken off. And Melton, we talked about him last week on the show. Incredible. Fromberg was sensational in his start this weekend. So Jackson Jobe, welcome back. He was great. Like they're plus it's in their DNA. I don't care what you say. What happened with them in 2024, there's a lot of guys on that team that have the memory of them coming out of nowhere and going pitching chaos, and they're going to stick around the whole thing. I mean, I'm most worried about my team. I know everybody's like, oh, it's so tiring when you stop. I watch them every day. You don't. So just let me deal with my misery the way that I do. I'm sick of people telling me, Rose, it's such bullshit that you always do. No, thank you. I'll take care of that my own. But that's not the division I'm focused on. I'm wearing a Mariners cap today because we both picked them to win the World Series. What a joke they have been. And they're part of a division that is horrible. Sorry. I know that Houston has kind of surprised us and Texas has had its moments. It is the only division where everybody has a negative run differential. And it's not like -1. You know, everybody is -20 or worse, I think. It's bad. It's bad. And at some point we say, well, the Mariners will kick it into gear. The Mariners will get it going. Oh, they made some moves at the trade deadline. Oh, Brendan Donovan's back. Taylor Ward's a part of their. Doesn't matter. Wake up. Wake up. They're more disappointing to me than the Toronto Blue Jays. They're more disappointing to me than the Detroit Tigers. Like, you know, Cal Raleigh, we said it was a bad start and then he got hurt. His numbers are his OPS is exactly the same since he's come back. At some point, clean it up. In Texas, I don't know what you are. I know you were interested in trading DeGrom. He didn't want to go. You're just kind of floating in neutral. And Houston, like, I'll give them credit. I think that for a team whose pitching has been incredibly inconsistent and banged up, I mean, they've hung in there. I don't know.
Yeah, see, I'm not like I don't know. I know what you're saying. It's going to be an interesting race.
Yes, I guess that's the part of it that
but I think more than anything, it's a disappointing season for all of those teams. I don't even want to talk about the Mariners. I can't stand, they do have it in them to go on a run. Houston just went on a run, 10 of 11. They lost 2 series after that to, I believe, the Blue Jays, and then now who they just played? San Diego. But they were getting hot. They got some guys giving them a chance. Peter Lambert's looked really good for them. We know about Hunter Brown. And then the Rangers. Yeah, look, Seager's back hitting bombs. Jock Peterson's had a great year. They to me they're the most interesting team in that division. I'm out on the Mariners. I'm not calling them dead because nobody's dead. If this was any other year, we're calling the Mariners dead. But they're not. But I think the Rangers have a better chance than any of those teams to like go on a run and kind of take the division and run away with it.
Okay, here, Seattle, I'm putting a shelf life on you till the last week of August. Your next 5 series are against teams that currently hold playoff spots. Yankees, Astros, Brewers, Cubs, Phillies. I'm going to know whether or not you mean, you want to play October baseball. I'll know by August 26th or whatever date it is of that last of those 5 series. Show us something. 3rd worst OPS in baseball. Embarrassing. That's what it's been, embarrassing.
They scored 4 runs in the series. 4 runs in the series.
Right, 4 runs in that series. I want to see, and on the weekend that you celebrate your 50th anniversary team, that's what you put out there at home? Let's see what you got.
It was the Rays, though. It was the Rays.
I get it. Best team in the American League. Legit squad. Won every game over the last week. Awesome. But let's go, Seattle. I'm sick of giving you guys pep talks. I did this a couple of years ago. You crap down your leg. I'm done. I should even just change hats right now. I mean, I love your people. The city's awesome. Ballpark's great. Good people behind the scenes that work there. They were exceptionally nice to us in spring training, but disappointing. Disappointing. Let us know which race is most interesting to you and why. Put it in the comments section. Could be a divisional race. Could be something having to do with the wild card. And also let us know which team we have not talked enough about. I was like, why don't you guys ever talk about this? What? I'll listen to you today. Let's go. I'm a little feisty. Have at it. Today's episode, Baseball Today, sponsored by Monarch. Everyone's relationship with money changes as they get older. I can attest to that. Most of us really weren't taught how to manage it and kind of figured it out along the way. But having the right tools and a clear picture actually makes a real difference. Thankfully, there's Monarch. It's a personal finance app that connects all of your accounts. How nice is that? We're talking about investments, savings goals, spending in one dashboard, making personal finance tracking so simple. And the AI weekly recap feature identifies spending spikes, net worth shifts, upcoming expenses before they even sneak up on you. Meanwhile, other apps only show you a list of what you've already spent your money on. How worthless is that? Monarch, it's built different, helps you see what's coming and whether you're actually on track as well. Write your own money story with Monarch. Use the code today at monarch.com to get your first year of Monarch Core half off at just $50. That is 50% off your first year at monarch.com with the code today. Once again, they help the planning. They get there before the financial tidal wave hits you. They tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, Rose, get your stuff in order. That's why we love monarch.com. All right. Plouffe saw this up close and personal. I cannot wait to get his thoughts on The Miz, who made a little bit of history. Speaking of history, Max, welcome to the top 10.
And he gets him anyway. Max Scherzer alone in 10th all-time strikeouts in Major League history.
He saw one pitch. And a little half swing. He goes upstairs with a fastball. Mizorowski with his 5th K.
Number 200 on the year.
Yeah, number 200 on the year. It only took him, 129 and a third innings. Only Spencer Strider got to 200 and fewer innings in a single season. That was your first time seeing him in person, right?
I think I called his game last year when he was in Minnesota, so no.
You did. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, look, he is everything that's advertised. He literally bullies hitters, and you just don't see guys like that. The first 28 pitches were fastballs. Then he threw a curveball to Brooks, then got one off his leg. What's up, Brooks Lee? A couple of homers on fastballs down. Any fastball that was up, it was just swung through. He just has absolutely electric stuff, and I'm very curious to see how they handle him going forward the rest of the year. It's gonna be interesting because they need him in the playoffs.
So, yeah, I would limit his pitch counts. I think that their division lead, although they won't say it, is comfortable enough. They're currently 5.5 up on the Cubs, who have played pretty damn good baseball. But yeah, they have to watch him, right? He has got to be at peak level for them to have any sort of shot whatsoever to make a deep run. What would you do?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of going through the same thing. Anybody that has a pitcher that is on an innings limit, you kind of see like any extra day they can give them, they got to give them. Any start, like I always say, like if you're up by 4 runs and it's in the 5th inning, get him out of there. They have the bullpen to do it. And they have the other pitchers in that pitching staff that, like, they're not always, they have enough. So you want to save your bullpen as well, because that's phenomenal. They have an incredible bullpen. But I would just try to get him out of there as quickly as possible in games where you have the lead.
So what is more helpful for a guy? And I know I'm asking a position player this, but wouldn't it be just make more sense to skip a start or maybe push a start back a couple of days if they can figure out a way to manage that, rather than just saying, hey, instead of 7 innings or 6 1/3 or whatever it ends up being, we're going to pitch you 4 2/3 today?
I don't really know, Chris. I'm not really sure. Like, part of me thinks pitchers would rather just be with their routine and limit the innings throughout starts. But then when they get out there, they don't want to be taken out in the 5th inning. That's not what they want. So, like, is there a phantom IL for Miz coming up where they say, hey, you got 2 weeks here. We're going to just throw bullpens the entire time. So limit the stress on your arm, but we'll continue to throw. Like, I don't think they do that. Is that something that maybe they're considering? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I to me, and talking to pitchers about it, I think they'd rather continue their routine.
Interesting. Really interesting. Okay. I like that. Find that stuff interesting. What do you think? How do you think it's going to end up? We'll see. You can throw it in the comments section. So I want you to kind of complete this sentence, if you will. Miz is the best starting pitcher strikeout artist since.
This one's tough. We've seen a lot of good ones as of late. Like, I want to say, look, there was I think it was 2019 or 2018. They both, Garrett Cole and Verlander, both got to 300 in a juice ball season. So maybe the balls has something to do with it, but no, those guys are both great. Then you go back to like Clayton Kershaw and what he was able to do. But I think like the pure dominance, and this is kind of a wild card, and I don't think people are going to like this because I am skipping over a lot of guys. There's a lot of great pitchers out there. I just mentioned 3 of them. Scherzer gets in there as well. I think it might be like 99, 2000 Pedro Martinez is kind of like the dominance that we're seeing. The Miz's numbers, 176 on the year, 13.8 strikeouts per 9, FIP 217. Like, he's completely dominating. That is very similar to 2000 year for Pedro Martinez, where he had an 11.7 more. Now the innings got up there to 217 that year, 13.8, or that was 11.8 strikeout percentage. The year before that was 13.2. So I think like the pure dominance, there's been some dominant years. I know Kershaw's done it. I know that, people. I'm just thinking like a comp where I'm like, this dude's bullying hitters. I think it's like, it looks like prime Pedro.
You're right in the territory I was thinking, but I went to the other league and a guy who throws with the other hand, and Randy Johnson. His 4-year tenure in Arizona from age 35 to age 38 is unlike anything I had ever seen, okay? I just want to look at the numbers because I just remember every time guys were going up there and they had zero chance of touching the baseball, it felt like. The fewest strikeouts he had in any of those 4 years was 334. That was the fewest. Now, granted, they were pitching so many more innings as a starting pitcher then. The most he struck out in a year was 372. Now, once again, that is ages 35, 36, 37, and 38. I remember Max Kellerman. We worked.
What years was that again? What'd you say?
99 through 2002.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were right in the same area. Max Kellerman worked at Fox at the same time, and he had a show. What was it called? IMAX or whatever. And Max is just super bright guy, super smart. But he had to pre-tape his show earlier in the day, sometimes previewing events that would happen that night. Happens. He said one day, Randy Johnson's done. He's not the same pitcher. He's not the same guy. What happened that night? He threw his perfect game against the Atlanta Braves. I was like, oh, Max, we've all been there. That one hurts. That one hurts.
He's still doing hot take merchant stuff.
He is. That's okay. Like I said, he's a smart guy. And I'm not here to pick on him. It was just made me laugh a little bit. Who's your favorite strikeout pitcher that you have seen? There's a lot of good ones. Maybe give us a name. Give us a one-liner as to why you love him so much. We didn't even mention Max Scherzer.
I mentioned him in passing.
In passing, yeah. But speaking of which, he gets to the top 10, passes the big train, which is incredible. Do you feel like this is the last time we'll see somebody make the top 10 in strikeouts?
Where's Verlander at?
He's already in there.
He's already in there. Okay. No.
You think? Okay. So just we're
in the strikeout era. Now, I know like innings limits and careers aren't as long and all that stuff, but I feel like there's going to be somebody that gets there.
So Chris Sale is next to try and get into the top 10. He's like 800 plus strikeouts behind. He's 37. He will not go. I don't think he's going to go long enough to have a shot at it. So you just start thinking about some of the dudes who, like a Garrett Cole. How long is he going to pitch? I think this is one of those pitching marks that he might be the last top 10er we see. Guy cracked the top 10.
Pedro Martinez from 97 to 2000 through 122 games started to a 2.16. 1,153 strikeouts just in those 4 years alone. ERA plus of 2.19, FIP of 2.36, whatever stat you want. Cy Young 1, Cy Young 2, Cy Young 1, Cy Young 1.
Have you ever stood next to Pedro?
I think so. Yeah.
He is not a big guy.
No, he's not.
But
No.
the thing that is amazing about him, he can take his fingers and bend them all the way back, and they're like ET fingers. They're the longest things ever. So he bends them all the way back to his arm, which allowed him to be able to have the ball on his fingers longer. He'd explain it beautifully. It's just incredible stuff.
He's listed at 5'11". Don't think that's the case. Also, like, don't you wish we had metrics on some of these guys?
Yeah.
Like, what was his spin?
Oh, God, so good. One thing that was cool, Max Scherzer doing that in Philadelphia. Steve Carlton, 4th in the list all time in strikeouts. They ended up getting a nice picture together. That's awesome.
That is cool.
Dig that. Carlton's so interesting. He was a grump. He never talked to the media during his playing days, and now you can't get him to be quiet ever. One of those dudes. So, nice stuff. Cool story. Now let's move on to a story of Jose Caballero, who's grabbing center stage for his at-bats, even though, he's had a fine year at the plate, but nobody's talking about the at-bats. He's talking about the fidgeting and the pitch clock and the not looking up in time, and is he getting warned by the umpires? Is he not getting warned? It's the antics. Anyway, Caballero had a major issue with home plate umpire Dan Merzel, who was not great behind the dish this weekend in the series against the Atlanta Braves. You can see he's pissed off. He stares him down. He probably says something. It took him 26 seconds to walk to first base. 26 after a walk. So long so that the next hitter, Austin Wells, got called for a time infraction. Aaron Boone did not like it. And it was on Caballero. It wasn't Austin Wells who wasn't ready. It was Caballero who wasn't even ready at first base. Here's Boone on what transpired.
Just some petty stuff going on.
From the home plate umpire.
Yeah, I thought that was uncalled for.
And then you talked to the umpires, I think, after that inning as well. Is that just about the enforcement of that rule?
You're trying to get me going, aren't you, Dan? You're really getting me going now. You have to warn him. Have to warn him. Unless I get a new memo from the league. He's not doing that anymore, so, and it was 11 seconds when he was, we're good.
You're okay with the way he's doing it, with the way Caballero is?
Yeah, he's not doing anything anymore. I didn't even see this one. There might have been something where there was some circumvention involved, but there was no warning, and there needs to be a warning.
So what he's saying, it's the anti-circumvention rule that Merzel used to enforce, which is basically a player shall not slow down the game intentionally. Like there's sometimes, you bang a ball off your foot, game slows down. You take 26 seconds to walk to first base because you're pissed at the way the umpire's treating you. They're going to use the anti-circumvention rule on it. Whose side are you on here? And we haven't talked about this yet. Finally, I was like, all right, this is the last gasp. We have to get Plouffe's opinion on it now.
All right. Do I like him like staring down the umpire and taking 26 seconds to get down to first base? I do not. I would not do that. I would not tell my youth players to do that. My teammates in the big leagues, I'd be like, get down to first base. Let's go. Like it's not gonna do anybody any good, in kind of showing up the umpire, which is what he was doing. That's fine. Was there some bad stuff going on? Sure, but it's like that doesn't do anything. That's not moving us forward whatsoever. In saying that, the anti-circumvention provision rule, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
What about when a guy charges the mound or chirps and bench is clear? Is that not delaying the game? We've never seen anybody called for a ball or a strike after that. Like, so it's kind of a made up rule used by discretion. I I did think it was petty from the umpire. Do I think it was petty from Caballero? Yes. Do I think it was petty from the umpire? Yes. I like what Boone said. Like the warning probably should have been instituted there. But again, I'll go back to Caballero on this one. It's like it's what I say about hitting, like a pitcher like deciding to hit somebody. You're not the one that's going to get hit, or like you're not the one that's in danger anymore. And for Caballero, you're not the one getting the penalty on you here. It ends up being Austin Wells. So like you're just putting your teammate in a bad spot. So I thought it was petty on both sides. And I don't think Caballero does it again. So like it should be done after this.
Really? Because this has been going on for quite a long. This is the point.
26 seconds to first base. I don't think will happen again for Jose Caballero.
That part I would agree with. I'm sure Booney said, hey, listen, dude, I get it. You're pissed. I'm going to protect you in the media. I'm going to talk to the league office, the whole bit. I need you to kind of be better than what you were yesterday.
Nobody's picking on Jose Caballero, by the way.
Well, that's my question. You do not think he's being picked on by the league?
I do not.
So why is it that he's the only one where it seems like we're talking about with this?
Because he's constantly doing things to ruffle feathers.
Okay, what about the opinion of some people that say Jose Caballero is not a good enough ball player to be doing bullshit like this? Do you agree with that?
I think that has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with it. In my opinion, not at all. I'd say this for Shohei Ohtani. If Shohei Ohtani took 26 seconds to get down to first base, then Mookie Betts started the count 0-1, I'd be like, Shohei, what are you doing? You're putting your guy behind the 8 ball here.
Well, these days it's Andy Pajas.
Whatever, you know what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying. I think they probably are picking on him a little bit, but I do think that it's justified. It's a little bit of the Draymond Green scenario in the NBA. And once again, I know you don't love it when I bring up NBA parallels. But there were times where Draymond Green, he was such a pain in the ass for everybody on the court that now referees were looking for him. Every little thing, they're not going to, he's the cry wolf guy. At some point, the league's going to be like, Jesus, enough, dude. And Caballero is that guy. Now, Jimmy did a great breakdown mid to late June on it. Go find it on social media. It popped up on my timeline. I decided to watch it. It was a 10-minute piece, and the first 9 minutes solely focused on Caballero and what he's done, and in terms of looking up at the 8-second mark and maybe giving pitchers enough time to deliver the baseball, in some cases really pushing it right to the brink. So he does an excellent breakdown on what it means. And I know some of you will say, well, Jimmy's a Yankee fan, so he sees it. No. Jimmy played it straight down the line, and he explains what has happened in times past and what Caballero is doing to push people's buttons. That's the thing. He's a button pusher. So you can't be a button pusher and then at the end of the day, when people start throwing shit back in your face, be like, why is everybody mad at me?
Okay, so like if you ask me, do I think Jose Caballero is going to get in a dust up with an umpire again in his career or this year? The answer is absolutely yes. I thought you were answering me about walking and taking 26 seconds to get down to first base. That won't happen again.
Okay. Do you think him being a pain in the ass?
It's part of his game. He was that before he got to the Yankees too.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Part of his game.
This is not the first time. It just has been magnified because he plays on the team with the biggest brand in the sport. It is magnified. But it also, it feels like he's the only guy that is consistently doing this, or at least being consistently called on it one way or another.
I mean, is anybody like you? I don't watch all 30 teams every single night, but our comment section can let us know. Does anybody have a pest like this on their team? I can't think of another one.
Not like this. Not like this. Do you think at some point it will go past the point of like no return where it doesn't help him or the Yankees? Like, have we reached that point?
I mean, getting your guy in an 0-1 situation doesn't help the Yankees. So I guess we're already there.
No, it doesn't. But you don't care that he's a pest to the other teams because his job is to help win games.
You hate the guys when you play against them. You love them when they're on your team. That's just how it goes.
Okay. People, let us know where you are on this whole thing. Interesting. That was just half of the equation with Dan Merzel. As I mentioned on Saturday, he was a little bit all over the place. Walt Weiss, the manager of the Braves, got ejected because of a balk call on Chris Sale. Well, before Sunday's game, Sale's just riding up on the rail in the Braves dugout. Merzel and his other 3 umpires walk past. Sale's chirping. Merzel goes, "Out! Beat it, old man. Get it." He just kept walking. So, we actually saw what transpired. John Boy Media put out a clip of, here's the balk from Saturday that we're showing. Sale obviously didn't agree. Walt Weiss lost his shit. And then Sunday, I think Dan Iasonia was the crew chief. So after Sale got ejected, he called Iasonia over to kind of continue to belabor the point. Hey, this is why I was still upset. So, any problem with how Merzel handled this whole thing?
So I think what happened was, Chris Sale does, like, he's in a stretch and a windup, and they kind of look similar. So with a runner on third base, I believe this is what I heard, that he declared that he was going to be in his windup, which is okay. Then you can kind of rock back and do the thing. You don't have to come set if you're in your windup. It's kind of a different motion. He did it the at bat before and then didn't declare the next at bat, but maybe he thought, or it's always been that it just kind of carries over. And I think that's what happened, that Merzel either forgot that he declared that he was in his windup or wanted him to do it again, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I don't have this on Chris Sale. I have this on Merzel. Do I think it's soft that he threw him out before the game? Absolutely. Yes. Yes, it is.
So if Sale's chirping, he just has to walk past.
I think there's going to be, hey, man, I get it. Maybe, because, look, this is a guy who's earned the right. He's played a long time in the big leagues. You can let him have his piece a little bit more than a rookie. That's just how it is, Chris. Whether you think that's right or wrong, that's just how it is. You could give him like, hey, man, I get it. I understand. Stop, before just ringing him. Not that it matters. Like, Chris Sale went back into the clubhouse and probably had a great time. It's a beautiful visiting clubhouse at Yankee Stadium. He's fine. But yeah, it's a little soft.
It was very funny because Mitchell Schwartz, who played in the NFL for over a decade, it was a really good right tackle, is somewhat of a baseball fan. And so I follow him on social media, and he saw Sale get ejected before the game even started. He's like, this is genius. He goes, I should have done this for every preseason game I ever played in because it was so damn hot in Kansas City. I could have said something to the ref, gotten ejected, watched the game in the air conditioning in the locker room. He's like, what a smart guy. It's pretty funny.
Absolutely, yeah. Pitchers, they're barely in the dugout anyway.
And now we all know Dan Merzel's name because of what transpired this weekend. It wasn't a great weekend for him. I agree with you on the whole Sale thing. I would have said, hey, Chris, enough. And then if he kept going, then you can let him have it. You're right. Right out the gate, that means you got the rabbit ears. It's just not a great look. Not a great look. All right, you know what is a great look? Wearing John Boy Media gear, particularly when you go to a game at a stadium. Plouffe was just in Milwaukee. He was recently in Seattle. I get the good fortune of going a lot to Dodger Stadium and Angels Stadium, and I'll be in Cleveland sometime soon and somewhere else after that. And you know what we love? When we scan the crowd and we see John Boy Media merch. It doesn't have to be baseball today or dugout discussions or talking baseball, but it certainly can be. As long as it's got JM on the shirt or on the cap, we're digging it. And there's something that is so helpful to make that happen. Shopify. Yeah, that reach with getting the gear to you, it doesn't happen by accident. The barrier to starting a real business, it has basically disappeared. There's no physical storefront needed. No massive startup fund. You can build something from anywhere. And once you do, Shopify makes sure the people who find your product actually buy it. Like a John Boy Media t-shirt or hat or anything else we have at our online store. Now, ShopPay, it's one-click checkout. Fewer abandoned carts, more completed orders, low barrier to get started, conversion built right into the platform. That is what makes this thing work. So here's what I want you to do. Start your free trial at shopify.com/today. John Boy Media is proof that this thing actually works. You should be satisfied, and so should your customers. All right. little more fighting in the Phils this weekend. Zack Wheeler was on the mound against the Toronto Blue Jays. Apparently earlier this year, somebody saw that he might not have been keeping his foot on the rubber when he was delivering a pitch. That got to the Blue Jays, who were like, what the hell's going on? One of their coaches, I believe, was ejected during this whole thing. There was talking back and forth between the Blue Jays players. Zack Wheeler basically told them to F off. Here comes Schneider.
Yeah, it was Popkins that got thrown out.
Oh, yeah, it was. See, look at that. Wheeler gave him an FU. Okay. All right. Here's Zack Wheeler explaining what happened.
When you're hearing these teams talk about it now and you know it's on everyone's mind, is it something you think about at all, or is it just you've pitched one way for 12 years, so you're just going to...
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep doing what I do. I've been pitching over there forever, and I'm going to keep doing it. Just, you know, they've lost a lot of games over there, so they're probably trying to pick some things up to complain about.
How funny is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little true. They did beat him that day, didn't they?
I think they won the game, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. I can't tell what's going on here, to be honest with you, because there are some vantage points where it looks like his foot is completely off the rubber. There's some metrics that you can look up that like have him off of the rubber, but then he says he's not, and they got high angle camera angles that show he's not right there. It kind of looks like he's off, Chris.
Like it looks like it's not even close.
So,
okay, so
I don't really know who to believe here because I'm looking with my own eyes and not seeing the guy on the rubber. Now is like you do whatever it takes to get into somebody's head. This is Zack Wheeler we're talking about. You're looking for any advantage against him. He's an absolute stud. So like if I'm on the other team and the guy's not on the rubber, hell yeah, I'm saying something. So like if he's actually off the rubber, then I have no problem with going after it and making sure it's like, you know, it's not the same as this because it can be an advantage pitch wise to be further away and the angle is different and all these things. But it's like, you know, if a guy has his glove is the wrong color or something like that, it's along those lines. Hey, it's the wrong color, bro. Your sleeves are bleeding into the baseball. Take your sleeves off. You got something on your wrist, some sort of bracelet. Take it off. Like anything to mess with the pitcher to get in their head a little bit, you got to do, especially a guy like Zack Wheeler. So again, like the whole foot situation is crazy to me because my own eyes are telling me one thing and Zack Wheeler's telling me another thing. I got a lot of respect for him. Sure looks like he was off the rubber there.
Yeah, it did. And by the way, it's not like the umpires have a great vantage point to tell whether or not if his foot is always on the rubber. So how do you even enforce that? I mean, you'd have to use some sort of replay to determine it. I'm sure that's not reviewable.
I'm sure they have like TrackMan or whatever's in the stadium probably can tell. They know where you're at all times.
So what is the enforcement? It's not like an ejectable offense.
I think it might be.
If you're not on the rubber,
I don't know. What's the rule?
Offense.
Is it a balk? Something like that?
Dan, try and look that up to see
So June 21st is when he got the memo. He's pitching against the Mets.
Right.
And Major League Baseball apparently sent him a memo, and then they sent some imagery back that like countered that information. But then again, like I'm looking at it with my own eyes right there.
How much of an advantage do you think it is? Apparently, it's that he was so far on the inside to the first base side that I guess the further you go in there.
Yeah, it's just angles.
Okay.
It's deception is what it is. I mean, who was it? The Brewers did to Kyle Harrison, just moved him over to the first base side, just creates a different type of angle, different type of look. And that's all we're looking for in the big leagues now is, yeah, you want to have the arm talent, but it's really about deception. And that's just adds to it.
All right, so Dan just got this. The rule book defines an illegal pitch as, quote, a pitch delivered to the batter when the pitcher does not have his pivot foot in contact with the pitcher's plate, also known as the rubber. An illegal pitch with runners on base is considered a balk per league rules.
What about when no one's on base? No such thing as a balk.
I wonder if it counts as a ball.
Zack Wheeler said, I'm going to keep doing it. So, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happens there.
There was, I tried to find the tweet it was somebody put out, the rubber's 2 feet wide and it has like starting point of your feet. And for many different pitches, his has been over a foot on the first base side, which would mean he'd be off of the rubber. So
got it. All right. We still got a little more show to go, but first, a word from my buddy.
this episode is brought to you by Fanatics Markets, where fans trade on sports. It's simple. You just pick a game and choose an outcome like which team will win, which player will hit a home run, and more. It's time to get involved in the action. Then buy contracts based on what you think will happen. Yes, if you think it will. No, if you don't. You can buy as many as you want, sell if the price moves in your favor, or let them settle when the event ends. And Fanatics Markets just got even more rewarding with Fan Cash. Now you can earn up to 10% fan cash on your trades, win or lose. You can use it across the Fanatics ecosystem for things like trade credit, the authentic apparel, collectibles, tickets, and more. Fan Cash is Fanatics' currency of sport, connecting trading, merchandise, collectibles, and experiences all in one place. Trade, earn fan cash, and unlock more with Fanatics Markets. Event contracts carry a risk of total loss and changing prices. Not good for all investors. Not available in all states. Must be 21 or older. See important disclosures in Fanatics Markets app. Customers are introduced to Crypto.com by Paragon Global Markets, LLC, DBA Fanatics Markets, IB, an introducing broker registered with the CFTC and a member of the NFA.
Trevor, thank you very much. A few teams were in celebration mode this weekend. The Phillies, Chase Utley, welcome to the Wall of Fame. During his press conference, he was asked an interesting question. He was always called the guy who played the game the right way. So he was asked what that meant to him.
I wanted to feel prepared, right? And I wanted to take advantage of any little mistake. And in order to do that, you have to put yourself in those positions. So from a running hard standpoint, you can't assume a single is only going to be a single. So you run until the ball stops you, and that was what I was taught at a young age, and I was able to kind of keep that going at this level.
I loved his phrase, "You run until the ball stops you." It's so simple, but it makes perfect sense. Why is it that this feels like the exception instead of the rule, what he just explained?
I think that players now, I don't want to say are coddled, because I don't truly believe that. Maybe some are, but I do think they're more aware of injury risk, and like teams like push that, like kind of like put that in your mind. Hey, we gotta stay healthy. We gotta stay healthy. So like you start to have injury risk in your mind, and so hey, routine ground ball, I'm going to be out. Let's just make sure I don't want to mess my legs up, so I'm going to take it easy here. That really wasn't in play back in the day. It was like it was cooler to just play hard, and like you got hurt, just part of the game. Now I feel like they're very injury averse. Is that the right term? I think it is.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's just in everybody's head. There's so much money in today's game and teams hate having dead money on the IL. They hate it. So they really have that at the forefront of their mind. Like, how can we keep these guys healthy? And I think that gets pushed into the psyche of players now, where it's like, hey, it's okay if we don't run everything out because we're saving our legs for the stretch or the playoff run, or hey, like if you run hard all the time, maybe you're going to get hurt. So like, let's take it easy. I think that's just, especially veteran players now, will do that. And I'm not saying I ran out every single ball 100%. I surely did not. Most of the time it was out of frustration. I was just so pissed. So you could find that on the internet, people. I'm very, very well aware of it. But I just do think that teams are pushing that on players more. So like, you're not going to see guys, like very rarely now do you see guys just busting out of the box every single time. Usually it's a young player, and then eventually they'll stop doing it.
I think that's a really good point. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, because every little league coach you've ever had, you can control two things: your attitude and your effort. And I always felt like Chase Utley did that. I also felt like there were times he went beyond. You can ask Ruben Tejada how that one turned out. In fact, Pat Burrell brought that up because he said Pat Burrell was one of the guys who who spoke during Utley's induction ceremony into the Wall of Fame. And he said, Chase ran hard and angry. He always ran angry. In fact, there were, some people who might even say that they created a new rule because of him. It was cute.
In his day, that was what got you props.
Right?
He was one of the guys who was at the transitional period of that, where like he
Yes.
came up and it was like, you try to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to run a catcher over. You're going to break up a double play. You're not going to start your slide until you get on the base. Like that was a badge of honor. That's what made you respected throughout the league. And then he also played in more of the time where we were transitioning out of that. Hey man, like we just want to see the best play the best. I'm not trying to hurt somebody. I'm not trying to get hurt. It's dangerous. That's not, so that's completely changed. Obviously, now there's rules around it, but he was in that transitional period.
Totally. The Buster Posey, the Tejada plays, like, yes. Manny Machado sliding into Dustin Pedroia. And you're right. I would rather see guys out there on a daily basis than one huge collision and us saying, look at how much he cares. I do think that today's players care. I think you made an excellent point about probably teams putting it in their head. Hey, it's okay. I mean, we just had Wilson Contreras get booed the other day in Boston because, he had just come back from an illness. He wasn't 100%. This is a guy who was the first half MVP of the Red Sox and kept them afloat, for God's sakes. And the Fenway faithful were booing him because he didn't exactly bust it down the line. So, interesting. All right, I already blasted the Mariners a little bit earlier. Now it's time to celebrate them. They did celebrate their 50 best players as voted on, I believe, by the fans up there. And it was a great moment to see all these guys wearing these cool-ass jackets. Griffey was there, Unit was there, Edgar Martinez was there, Ichiro, the whole bit. So I'm going to give you 5. A-Rod got a really nice round of applause, which I thought was very, very cool on the fans' part. And good for him, too. I'm going to give you these 5 guys: Junior, Unit, A-Rod, Ichiro, and Edgar Martinez. List them in order based on their Mariner greatness. You cannot take their full career into account.
So Ken Griffey Jr. number 1. I think he just kind of transcends the game. He's one of those guys like almost like Michael Jordan, where he's the coolest guy to ever play the game. So he's number 1. And then I'll go Edgar over Ichiro because he spent his entire career there. He's got Edgar's like the I think Ichiro probably has a place to eat there too. But Edgar's is right there in left field. You can see it every time you go to the ballpark. I'll go Ichiro number 3. We know what he meant to that franchise. Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season, which was awesome. And then I'm going Randy Johnson over A-Rod. Maybe that's just me. What was it? What game? Game 5 of the 95 ALDS. He comes back and throws on 2 days rest. Those 3 scoreless innings allows Edgar to have the walk-off double to beat the Yankees. So that's a massive moment. Then, obviously he had great seasons there as well. I'll go A-Rod 5. I know that he had great seasons there, but I think the exit wasn't great. And yeah, so that's my list.
And A-Rod only had 7 years there.
Yeah.
And a combined WAR under 40. I think your list is exceptional. I would dangle the idea of putting Unit ahead of Ichiro, but I'm not sure I can do it.
Ichiro's still there every day.
I know. But Randy Johnson pitched a decade up there. He finished his Seattle career with 2,100 strikeouts. If you just took his Seattle career by themselves and didn't factor in anything that he had elsewhere, and predominantly in Arizona, but also with the Yankees and the Giants, he would be 72nd all-time in strikeouts. If you just take his 10 years in Seattle, nobody else can come close to that. Nolan Ryan, maybe, but that's it. In terms of just a 10-year stint with that number of strikeouts for one team, like, pretty damn cool. And he did win the first of his umpteen Cy Young awards there. So, but Griffey is far and away it, man. God, I wish you could have seen Griffey at his peak.
Me too.
He was so fun. So fun. Just incredible stuff. He hit 417 of his 630 home runs in Seattle. And a 70 WAR in Seattle. Pretty damn good. You can give us a list if you want. And finally, on our day of many happy returns, Ozzie Guillen, he hasn't gone anywhere because he continues to broadcast for the Chicago White Sox. Does a great job with Chuck Garfien on the pre- and post-game. It was nice to see the White Sox finally retire number 13. Top 6 or 7 in all-time games played there. Outstanding shortstop when he came up in the 80s for them. Obviously, led them to the World Series title in 2005, their first one since 1917. You know, we make a big deal about the Boston Red Sox breaking the curse. Well, the White Sox broke theirs as well, and he was the guy to do it. Had kind of an ugly departure and went down to Miami. That didn't work out. Mended fences, came back, and has been as big a part of this organization over the last 4 decades as anybody in baseball with an organization, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I for some reason, when I think about my time playing against the White Sox, like he's the manager in my mind. He only was the manager for 2 of the seasons I was there, so 10 and 11. It was Robin Ventura after him, but he made such an impact. Him versus Gardy was just a hilarious combination. The things they would say to each other, and I don't know, like they had such a fun relationship. And yeah, he's an interesting guy, man. He says some funny things. He's got a great personality. Sometimes, might rub people the wrong way, but I think in the end, he's really means well, and he's meant a lot to that franchise.
Did they get along or not?
They did, but they would fight all the time. Of course, they loved each other. They loved to hate each other.
That's fun. That's fun. I always just remember Ozzie talking so much shit about Wrigley Field. Oh, he just would verbally abuse
that old clubhouse, clubhouse was as bad as it gets.
It was horrible. It was horrible. It's still an interesting walk, is it not? Don't they still walk like through the catwalk to get there?
Yeah,
or did they change that?
It's changed, gotten better, but I remember the stovetop they would cook the meals on was like this big, and it looked like it was from the 40s. And I was like, it would take them so long to make eggs because the flame wasn't hot enough. Crazy.
It's crazy. That is crazy. All right. We're back at it again on Tuesday. Kind of a half slate of games, which will include Tarek Skubal's LA Dodgers debut as he tries to get the 2-time defending champs pointed in the right direction. A few other teams I'm sure we will talk about that have kind of been on the brink of making it to the wild card. Maybe they can make a few steps forward. So a lot of interesting stuff will be happening over the last 6 weeks of the season. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Tuesday here on Baseball Today, presented to you by T-Mobile.